Well folks, welcome to Inside the Swiss Pocket Watch, and we're going to take a look at this Swiss Pocket Watch which has actually stopped working. We're going to take a look at why it stopped working and try and fix it. There are actually no markings on the watch itself that I can see at the moment, but just on the case there it does say Swiss made at the bottom. It doesn't have the right tarnish on it for silver, so it's probably nickel. I'm not really sure, and I may test the case later just to see what it is made of. Anyway, the first thing I'm going to do is just investigate this balance here. Now, as you can see, it looks intact. But there's a reluctant spring back there. Balance is sitting at the right height, so maybe this watch has just got some hardened oil in it, because there's actually some hardened oil here on the drum. So the first thing I'm going to do is try and take that off and have a look. Now this watch does look as if it's got some jewels in it. A little bit of persuasion goes a long way. Okay, both pivots look intact on there, so that looks pretty good. That is promising. This minute hand has been clipped at one end, so it is probably not the original. It is probably from a bigger watch, in fact. So with this type of watch, you release this here, and that allows it to pop out the front. Now this type of movement has side screws to hold the face on, and as you can see that one's missing. The other side screw is still in place. There you go, that's the face come off, and you can just see there's some cracks to the enamel. But you know what? That's authentic. You know, it means that this is an authentic watch. It's a good watch. It's not unsightly, and it gives a charm to the watch, which is worth keeping. Okay, so these are the motion works. This is the point at which the watch needs to have the energy taken out of the movement. So we're going to hold that lever down towards the centre, which will release the drum, and then I'm going to hold the watch with a watch key at the back. Okay, so now that's discharged. These three screws have to be removed. Looks like somebody's bushed this movement out. Probably had a lot of use. At this point, we just take this final screw out there, and we should be exposing the whole gear train. Two jewels on that. There you go. That's the click off. Okay, with the exception of some jewels, that is the watch dismantled pretty much. So there we can see, after removing the drum, and there is a broken spring in there. Okay, so back to the spring. So the spring was broken mainly at the end. So what I've done is I've taken a diamond drill bit and I made a new hole in the end. And that does seem to be quite a snug fit, so I think it'll be okay. We're not losing much length of the spring. I'm talking about a centimetre or something like that, so that's not too much. So I'm going to rewind this into the barrel now. So there you go, rewound with a new notch on it. There's a cap to go on the top now. When you're doing this, safety glasses folks, remember that. So there you go, that's our newly restored barrel. It's got a few dents in the top, mind you. Okay, so I think this is the great wheel. I think the piece that goes on it is called the cannon pinion. So I have to really grab hold of the watch to do this. Okay, there you have the great wheel and the second wheel in there. I'm going to put the third wheel in next. This should mesh with that there. That one there meshes with this one underneath, and that one there meshes with that one on the top there. With the pallet fork or the lever put in there, you can see what it looks like. Okay, so before you screw it down, you need to check all the pivots are in place by looking underneath it sideways. So if you put this one in first, Okay, so what we see here on top of there looks like somebody's bushed this out as a repair. Don't think that's original to the watch. So that's the bridge for the barrel on. Okay, remember to put your finger on that. So after fitting the click, which helps return the spring power, we then put back the balance wheel. Now, as you can see from the felt tip pen marks there has been a slight problem with it, and that one of the jewels, I believe it's that one, just there, is cracked. But it's a through jewel, it's not like a cap jewel or a dish jewel. And initially I thought that was the problem because it wouldn't start up. But then I looked more closely at the top piece here, and it seems to me that the reason we had a cracked jewel was because the watch has had a bang at some point, and it hasn't damaged those jewels on the balance, but has damaged the other one for some reason. What it did do was it bent the balance, so the balance was rocking like that when I pushed the bridge down, but as I tightened the bridge screw it would always stop, which suggested that the very tip here had been bent over. And we are talking about fractions of a millimetre here, tiny fractions of a millimetre. And so I very, very carefully bent it back again, tried it and fitted it, and put it back and tried it and fitted it. And now it does work. And that's also the broken spring with the repaired end, which is in there too. And so there you go. There's the movement working. So we just need to put the faces back in that on it. There you go, that's the back end of the pallet fork. Now it has to be said that there was quite a lot of sticky oil on the cogging, and that did have to be cleaned off. I haven't cleaned this the way that professionals would have done it, but see the little pin there on the end of the pallet fork? That needed quite a lot of sanding with 7000 grit, which is very, very fine sandpaper. But there you go, she's working. Well, there you go, folks. There's the fully assembled watch, now working. Okay, thanks so much for watching, folks. Bye.